Last week they kind of did, actually. If we mentioned it, like Tolbert got it.
Yeah,
Cook's got
all
it.
You need is all you need then is like a Rico Dwaddle touchdown and
Something like
Hendershot scores instead of Ferguson. You're off to the races.
It happens, right? It can. And then, so if that's the case, you still have all the main pieces you wanted from this Rams-Detroit game.
Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience. 2 separate slates this week. Actually, there's like 5 separate slates on DraftKings for NFL Super Wildcard Weekend, DraftKings Picks, and Preview. But we're going to be talking about the 3-game slate on Sunday, which is the same as the Pat Mayo Experience Listeners League. It'll be the Sunday 3-game slate, but we'll also dig into the 2-game slate on Saturday as well, where there is a $1 million. Is it top prize or prize pool?
Top prize.
Top prize. Millionaire maker then for the 2-game slate, with one of the games being like devoid of anything. So
Yeah.
it's an enhanced showdown slate is what I would call it.
Yeah, two games. It's always fun. Everybody feels like they have an opportunity, and you have to listen to all the stories after. Oh, I was just 3 guys away. Yeah, it was 2 games on this slate. So everybody was 1 to 3 guys away, it feels like. But yeah, it happens.
Listen, I'm pretty sure I can construct a few lineups that are like 9 guys away from
Yes.
actually being at the top. But anyway, the Listeners League's been having problems, the link, and I know that people have been trying to join it, and it just hasn't been working. So what I'm going to do is usually with YouTube, if I post the actual DraftKings link, it like gets flagged and it just becomes a thing. So I've been shortening the link, but that hasn't worked. So I'm just going to put the real link, the full link, in the description right now. I need it to fill. There's like 1,000 spots left because no one can fucking join this thing besides me, apparently. Maybe I'll also not send it out. I'll be the only person in the tournament. Guaranteed money for Pat.
Increase your odds.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't enjoy that too much. So I'm going to put the real link down there. So please share that one around. Do what you got to do. It's 3 max entry for Sunday. So please help me fill it because we're way behind the 8 ball with this week for NFL. So apologies that the link wasn't working. Additionally, runthesims.com is what I'm going to be using to generate my optimal lineups, build my lineups this week, and do my research. Code Mayo over there for the DFS product and the prop sniper. If you get the DFS product, it has the prop sniper in it, which is just props and prize picks and underdog. But if you just want to do that and put in code Mayo, it's like $11 a week or something like that. But you're doing a giveaway for golf. If people care about golf, you have a giveaway for them.
Yeah, we started I guess it was earlier this week. We ended up still making this show work. Excited to be back here to talk the playoffs with you, but we set it up. It's been incredible. The support's been awesome since starting us off. I think people were starving for a PGA-only DFS product. We've got a great one. So to start it off, it was anybody that signed up using promo code MAYO at shipitnation.com for the golf-only package. $34 a month drops to about $30. Some places charging $40 for the week. So love to see that. We are going to be upgrading one of those people to the season pass. We'll do a random draw of all the people that use code Mayo on the monthly. It's been good so far. And then a lot of people have bought the season pass because it works out to about $5 an event. It's $179.
And that will be comped if they win.
And that will be comped money back for them because there's nothing to go up to. You already have the entire season, so we'll just get the money back to them. $179 if you use promo code Mayo.
There we go. ShipItNation.com. Code Mayo. Get yourself in that draw. FantasyNational.com/Mayo for all the tools, lineup generation, research, all that fun stuff. If you're into golf or just want to give it a try this time around. 3-game slate. So we got the Bills and we have the Steelers. There is a potential weather situation in Buffalo where there could be a state of emergency and the game could be moved to Cleveland. I don't think that's going to happen, so I'm going to play under the assumption that that's not happening, and it's in Buffalo. It's just going to be like terrible conditions, or at least super frigid, almost like the Miami-Kansas City game. Then we have an indoor game in Dallas, Green Bay at Dallas, then an indoor game, Rams at Detroit. Do we just say, hey, this Pittsburgh-Buffalo game doesn't exist when we build our lineups and just do the ones with the 20 more points in totals and in optimal conditions?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just one of those things. I mean, people will try and get tricky. I get it. Josh Allen, you could still make it happen. There's certain things you can pick. I think you could still pick off little plays. Like, for example, with Gabe Davis news, we'll wait and see. But like Shakir.
Or Trent Sherfield if you need a $3,000 player.
Again, even if you were paying up, like I would go to Shakir because at least in the slot, you're going to see a guy in the snow. And we're going to talk about this when we get to the 2-game slate. But in a colder environment, snow environment, whatever it might be, weather involved, you oftentimes can still see that be the play. Everyone just goes immediately to the running backs. And we get it. We understand why. But sometimes it is just those little short passes. Let's just move it. It still kills the clock, right? All those. And in a full PPR site like DraftKings, that can be important. So that would be kind of where I would lean in this game. Deontay Johnson, Shakir, the defenses, maybe that's it.
Jalen Warren, maybe?
Yes.
I would expect him to catch a bunch of passes out of the backfield.
Yes, and the thing we've seen actually in the last few weeks anyway is Najee is if you think they're going to be in the game. And this one, you probably don't think they're going to be in the game going up as 10-point underdogs versus Buffalo. I think if you do think they are, pair Najee with his defense. But you could also use the Steelers D in the spot. We've seen Josh Allen make mistakes. They can lose the game.
They can lose the game
and still be the D that's
they
required.
They could give up 40 points and be the highest scoring D of the week against
So
Josh
we have
Allen.
the right idea for where we're focusing on this. But I think, yes, those last two games, just a ton of action within those that we can get to.
So let's start with the optimal lineup from runthesims.com. The goof is the quarterback in this lineup. It's a triple stack with Goff. It's Goff with Amon-Ra St. Brown and James Mitchell. Now, do I know for sure that it's going to be James Mitchell? That is the Laporta replacement. I don't know. It could be Brock Wright, I suppose, if he's still on the team. I think he is because I think he caught a touchdown a few weeks back. But you're just it's a $2,800 tight end is kind of the whole point behind it. Even if you wanted to use someone like Tucker Kraft, well, Luke Musgrave is back, and people didn't really seem to notice that happen, but he is back. Yep. So now those snaps get split up. So if you're going to punt, I think this is the most logical place to go punt, is at tight end and in a spot where James Mitchell could just be the starting tight end.
Yeah, we like cheap tight ends. We use this to get other guys in the slate, maybe CD Lamb, something like that. But also the fact that I like it better, and I've talked about this all season long, is, if you can pair it in with a game stack or with some sort of stack, so it's also double value. Like if he somehow does catch that touchdown, you got double because you got Goff plus him. So it'd be great if that happens. If it doesn't, maybe it doesn't kill you because of what you pick up with all the other stars that you get within the lineup.
And who else would you really consider using as the elite tight end on this slate? There is none.
It's what I would say. I guess what would end up happening is if nothing crazy happens at tight end, could it be Kincaid just because, chopping it up over the middle?
Or could it be Knox catches 2 touchdowns because of the crappy weather?
Yep, same thing. And then obviously Ferguson, when we get to that game, I mean, that's obviously a spot. When you got Dak Prescott throwing it to you as much as they throw, the Pollard experiment people have been trying for all season now, me included, it just doesn't work. It never works. They do not use them. They just throw that ball, and that's the thing where Ferguson could be just as involved as well, and he'll probably be popular at 4,700.
So Goff, Amon-Ra, and James Mitchell. On the Rams side, you get Kyron Williams, and you get Demarcus Robinson at $3,600 to fill that out. Aaron Jones at running back, Bo Melton. We'll see what happens. We'll talk through the Packers receiving situation in a second, but it does seem like it's been Wicks and Melton who have really shown up since Watson has been out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Reed gets half hurt every single game anyway. Romeo Doubs is dealing with his ribs injury. They might all play. 3 of them might not play. So that's going to be a late swap situation, I think. But Melton has kind of jumped above the rest in a lot of ways. Then you have CD Lamb at receiver. That's probably a good play. And then Bills D.
Yeah. That's probably the best optimal we've seen all season doing this.
Yeah.
I know we set up a little bit beforehand so I could see it, but man, I said it 3-2 in the game that we probably want to be at. Detroit at home, where Goff definitely is better. Don't care about the narrative stuff of old teams, all this and that. It's just the spot to play and be at. These defenses don't really have, these teams don't really have defenses, so it's kind of a good setup from that perspective. You get Jones, Melton, again, we'll wait on the news, but with CD Lamb, so you pick up 3 pieces from that secondary game, the one before it, and then you only have the defense from the first game, which is kind of how we started. So we're working backwards now. Looks like a pretty good lineup on paper for sure.
Yeah, I actually like this one a lot. I mean, we can all enter that one, and then we can kind of shift it around to see what we want to do and try to make it potentially a little bit better, because I think people can land on this lineup pretty easily.
I think so too.
First off, we can get rid of Bills D if we want to. Let's say Bills D, we'll change that to Steelers D. Now we have an extra $900 to play around with.
Yeah, I think just overall looking at it, for example, from this lineup, what do you think really comes across to more lineups as popular? It seems like it's going to be very easy to get to Lamb on this slate, and people just know he's the best receiver, and he's actually 9,000. I know it's a 3-game slate, and they want it to be soft pricing, but obviously he's been priced more than that on where there's so many options. Now he's cheaper when he's the only option, so I think Lamb will be popular no matter what. Do you think Kieran Williams be pretty popular?
He should be.
Yeah. One thing I would say right out of the gate that I look at here is I would flip the build. I would go to the other side with Stafford, Nakua, Robinson, something like that, and do it that way.
Okay, I just saved us another $300. I took Bo Melton out, and I slotted in Jalen Tolbert at $3,000. Okay. So I think that the way that I'm going to play this, and I think that a lot of people are going to play it, it's not some sort of unique insight, is just Dak on slot, no Pollard.
Yeah, you can almost get to Dak right now if you just pull Jared Goff. And
you're
$200 away with your Tolbert.
We'll build out the Dak one, but I'm just thinking Dak, Lamb, Cooks, and then
Ferguson,
Tolbert,
I think still.
or Ferguson.
Yep.
You play 4 of them, on a 3
You can also
games
you
late.
can stack Pollard. It's hard.
I
to
don't
make him
want.
work.
I don't want to stack.
Right.
Pollard.
It's the other way is to leverage. I do think people are going to play Pollard here regardless because I think people think like
Good.
now everyone's off him, and I still think it leans onto him. So could definitely be a spot where he's done nothing lately for people.
But this is actually a good running back slate.
Yeah, so it looks way better than, like you said, tight end sucks. Defense, who cares? And wide receiver, we kind of know where we're at. It's like Lamb, drop off, Amon-Ra, big drop off, and then whatever's left over. I mean, obviously Nakua and Cup. I shouldn't say that. I make a case for them as well. But
And
that's,
Diggs is there. It's
Yeah.
just
it's another one. Do you think what do you get? I think last week was his biggest game in a while. It was like 15 DraftKings points.
yeah.
It's just been tough. But now you say no Gabe Davis, but then you also say Joey Porter, but then you also say he's been getting beat up a little bit lately. I think the last couple games, guys went for almost 100 on him or more, 90 and 100 or something. So it's like that's where, I don't know. I shouldn't say he's not in the mix either. It just feels like how people are building is what we're talking about. Lamb is going to be very popular.
And he should be.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm not denying that. I just said like that's where we know people are going. How do we do something different? I think right at the gate to me, it was like if you take out Kieran Williams and go to Stafford, but you've got Tolbert in here now, you may as well find a way to get to Goff. I mean, to Dak.
To Dak.
for
So,
Goff.
yeah, so let's just build the Dak lineup. Like, screw it. And that's the way that I want to play it. I would anticipate him being the highest owned by far quarterback on this slate. Maybe not by far, because the other ones are cheaper.
Right.
And they have good optimal conditions. How, in this turn, let's just talk about like the big $25 on DraftKings for this slate. How much do you think Allen gets owned? And like, where does he fall in that pantheon of building around Allen? Because I could see playing Allen by himself on this slate. Because I feel like if the Bills are going to score, it's just going to it's either going to be Allen rushing touchdowns or Allen to absolute goobers throwing them the ball.
I feel like it's going to be pretty spread out so it'll be like Dak, Goff, Stafford between those three.
Not Love?
Love's going to get ownership, but it'll be less than those three. People don't like playing Love for whatever reason, even though he puts up 22 plus every game and is always priced at a pretty fair price. So I'll definitely have interest, but I'd say he's probably more like the 12 to 15 range here. And those other guys are that 15 to 25 range. And then probably Allen still gets love no matter what. Even if there is big weather and all that stuff, it's because of what you said. You could just stack him with one guy. You can just play him on his own. You could put him with Knox and call it a day and say, hopefully Knox gets that touchdown. If not, hopefully Allen runs it in. Like there is ways that you can use Allen here regardless of weather and what we're up against in these other two games.
Pick one of Ferguson, Cooks, or Gallup.
Probably goes Cooks, Ferguson, Gallup for me.
So I'll go Cooks. So I think that like I it's not that I have like the utmost faith in Jalen Tolbert here, but I do think that he is a way to get different with Dallas as a part of this passing game.
Are you interested in playing Cooks with Tolbert or picking one?
My lineup right now is Dak, Lamb, Cooks, Tolbert.
Okay, I'm going to start it over so I have it all. Dak, Lamb, Cooks, Tolbert.
So it's Dallas quarterback with 3 Dallas receivers and Kyron Williams.
Yep. All right.
So we have $5,200 left. So at tight end, like there is a chance that Laporta might play, right?
I don't think he will. They say day to day, but I think it was Paul pre-show we talked about it. Says probably just Campbell trying to make save face a little bit for what ended up happening in that meaningless game. Again, I'm actually opposite side of that. I don't care. Like if I know it was a meaningless game for whatever, but some coaches, and he's old school for sure, just want their players to stay fresh. You can get injured any game over the entire season. I don't think it's smart. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it can happen at any time. And sometimes we've seen in the playoffs where teams struggle in the first round that looked really good coming in. And then the media and everyone hops on them anyway and says, well, you shouldn't have sat them last week and cooled them off. They were hot coming in. Like
Yeah.
You get it no matter what. So it sucks. It's a bad decision probably, but I think that's just saving face right now. We probably end up seeing one of these backups.
So we can play Cooks or we can play Ferguson. Ferguson makes more sense in the lineup because then it fills your tight end slot and you don't have to go digging deep. But let's just do it this way. Just thought experiment this out a little bit. Where now we need a running back, tight end, and flex. We have $5,200 left. I just clicked on Brock Wright. He has been practicing this week. He's full participant with a hip injury. Mm-hmm. So just keep that in mind.
They're what, $200 apart,
Yeah.
Mitchell and him. So it's like you can pick your poison there.
And listen to the news of the reports coming out of practice as you get closer to game time. Like one part you can leverage. It might not be right, but a lot of the times when it comes down to playing time with these backups, like the local media guys do have some insight to that.
Find whatever sounds bad that's going to turn people off and play that guy. Remember the one Minnesota this year? Hawkinson, only going to be out there in key situations, and then apparently there was 10 key situations in the first half as he had 10 catches for 140 and a touchdown or something. So, yeah, I don't know how to pick from there, but I would say, Pat, with the money we've got left over, like if you just plug in Steelers just to show, like you said, it is a good running back slate, you still are down to 5,200. And we do have a cheap tight end that we can get to, but you need another running back. So I think.
So let's figure out the running back first and work backwards from there.
Right.
So we have all these, like we don't have any Green Bay players yet. And Aaron Jones, I think, logically makes the most sense in this lineup. I'm good with fading Aaron Jones.
Okay.
And a lot of that has to do with the A.J. Dillon news, which he apparently has an alert next to his name. Did not participate in Thursday's practice. If he doesn't play, obviously Aaron Jones becomes probably the best play at running back. If A.J. Dillon is in that game, he will come and steal touchdowns. He absolutely will.
Do you have any interest at all in the Buffalo running back situation just because of if it's at home, big favorite?
Yeah, playoff Lenny.
Yeah, that's definitely possible what they brought him in for. He is what, 4,400? Same price as Dillon.
Same price as Dillon?
Yeah, which again doesn't matter. But to your point, like you said, if Dillon could always plug in there. But if you went playoff Lenny and just hope he scoops the touchdown, now you actually have money to play with.
I'm actually kind of interested in one of the Detroit running backs.
Which one?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, Montgomery's cheaper. But I think if we're shooting for upside, which we have to be on a 3-game slate, then Gibbs would probably be the play.
Yeah, also Gibbs is twofold here. Gibbs is $200 more than Aaron Jones.
So yeah.
It's that angle, and then you also don't have the Goff stack. So what's a good way to leverage it? Pick up one of his running backs here and hope that it's them instead of Goff chucking passes. And now you still have 3,900 left. And once we get a cheap tight end or mid, there's no real expensive tight end. We're not going to Ferguson with already stacking up all three of these wide receivers. I think we're in a good spot here if we go with Gibbs.
So looking at the projections for the week and just trying to find the optimals, like it's very clear that it's Kyren Williams, Aaron Jones, 2 running backs inside the top 4 most optimal players of the week for this slate. It's Amon-Ra, CD, Kyren Williams, Aaron Jones, then Tony Pollard. Weirdly enough, I just really don't. I haven't played Tony Pollard since like week 2, and I'm just not going back to it. It saved me a lot of money throughout the course of the year. The other ones that pop up, then it's James Cooks, then Gibbs, then Jalen Warren. Warren in this one would be somewhat interesting because he's 5,400, so you could do like a balance of your last few guys. And you would have to save money at tight end regardless because there's just not that. There's no tight end that is expensive enough to take away from your average.
Right.
And then you can go up with your flex and be in that. Let me try that out. Let me try Jalen Warren for a second.
Over Gibbs?
Well, I want to see if we can get to Gibbs in the flex.
Okay.
So if we can get to Gibbs in the flex, that gives us $4,000 for a tight end. So we'd have the choice between Freiermuth, Higbee, who's on the injury report but looks like he's going to be fine. He was limited in practice. Yeah, limited in practice on Thursday, so we'll get the full.
Yeah, you can get like Buffalo D and Brock Wright though, or you can get Pittsburgh D with more. Pittsburgh with up to 4,000.
I have Pittsburgh D in. Just the now the most expensive tight end is Freiermuth.
Yeah,
and we already have Jalen Warren and Steelers D. I don't think we need to overload.
Yeah, it would just be hoping that they're just check down city, right? Because of the weather, because of whatever, just trying to stick in that game. But yeah,
the one that I would probably go to here. I mean, do you have a preference between Kraft and Musgrave or no?
Well, we have no Green Bay player. I would say that part to start it. But, like, yeah, I don't really have a preference. It's tough to say what they end up doing. Like, what did Musgrave – I'm just trying to pull him up here because he came off of IR.
So the way that we have it shaking down right now in terms of market share, we have Tucker Kraft at 11% of the target share, Musgrave at 5% of the market share. And that's just what – I mean, all projections are going to be guesses based on this stuff anyway. Like, that could be flipped, no problem. I can most definitely see that. But I think I would still have more faith in Kraft at the moment just because he's been out there. And he's been more effective than Musgrave all year long anyway.
Yeah, it's just tough. If, like, Green Bay, you kind of want to have a Green Bay piece in this lineup. You got 4, like, if you got Dak going off with 3 receivers.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we need to have a Green Bay dude. I mean, we don't have to. They could beat them 35-0 or something. They probably won't.
Yeah, I'd probably just pick your poison there. Like if you wanted to stick with Kraft again and see if it works, or take a shot. The Musgrave stuff from last game, I don't think many people are going to go to him just because first game back he didn't do anything. But will people factor that in for coming back for this next game? I don't know.
So in terms of optimal at tight end, Ferguson, Mitchell, Kraft, Kincaid, Freiermuth are the top 5.
Right. So if you just plug in Kraft.
That leaves us $700 now.
Yeah, just you might not be able to do the Warren experience. Like you just might not need that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, he's 51. You can get up to 58. The problem is Pollard is the next closest at running back. I mean, we can always flip Gibbs. Let's flip Gibbs into the Warren spot. And then we have a flex for 5,800. See if that does anything. That gives us Jaden Reed.
Yeah, this lineup looks better that you just said, though. If you just plug in Tucker Kraft, Jaden Reed, and keep the Pittsburgh D and get rid of Warren, it makes sense on paper because Tucker Kraft and Reed should be the guys getting it. And it gets even better if one of Watson or Wicks is out and you still have the Pittsburgh D and just you don't get Warren, but you get a 4-2 in that big second game and you go running backs against each other. That would be a way that eats up that last game if you think game 2 is the one to take it out, and then you still have just the D from the first game. It's about 7 points off your optimal, but on paper, it kind of makes sense.
Now, how do we feel about 3 Dallas receivers here? Is that too many?
I don't think it matters on a 2-game slate. Like again, all they do is throw. You're saying
I like that you're
Pollard.
calling it a 2-game slate now because we're not even thinking about
The first game. We're just cutting out a few plays, but yeah, really, it's the setup of that. It doesn't really matter, and I feel like we've just seen it. Like, didn't Tolbert just catch a touchdown in the last game, and Cooks caught one, and Lamb just did his
Lamb
thing
went
still?
off. Let's see. So
Tolbert's was only worth 9 total, but I'm like...
So maybe Tolbert's the wrong play here. He hasn't scored more than 10 fantasy points in 2 months.
Yeah.
But I've had success on some of these smaller slates, weirdly enough, based on, it's basically the hunch play. Like, who is the cheap, shitty dude who scores a touchdown and ends up with like 15 points? Right. That's really the key to these slates, isn't it? Like finding that one guy. And you can run a bunch of them through. Like, as long as your core is good, the thing that's going to make you different is going to be that random dude that no one has. Maybe it's Tucker Kraft in this lineup. We don't need to play Tolbert.
Yeah, like I just converted it because sometimes I can just do this in my head. But like the setup is this: if you take out Cooks because our hunch is Tolbert, which I don't mind, and you get Musgrave instead of Kraft, you get back to Warren with the Pittsburgh D. But it's what you had. I'm just saying it's literally what you had. So we just
it is. But now I'm thinking like, what if we just take out? And this is going to be the popular one. I think the popular move to do this. We can just basically take Tolbert out. We can take Cooks out. Get to 4,400 because we have Jaden Reed in now. So we have. I'm going to take Tucker Kraft out, and I'm going to go to right. Or no, it was Mitchell. We'll
stick with Mitchell for now. Yeah.
Go to Mitchell, and that gets us back up to Cooks. So we can go Dak with Cooks and Lamb, and then the other receiver is Demarcus Robinson to have another Ram, and that's $3,600.
Yeah, that's our best version of this yet. And it's 3 off the optimal.
I mean, this one's very close to the. It's almost like the optimal lineup that we had, but now it's with Dak instead of Goff.
Yeah, it's just a better version though. I like it. Like it's probably lesser owned, and it makes sense. Then the other side, like you have Dak, Cooks, Lamb, just call it a day. You use up all your receiver spots still within the game, just not with 3 Dallas guys. And that's why I asked right at the gate when you said about Tolbert. I said, are we talking Tolbert versus Cooks? You said, well, I got both. I like it better set up like this. Reed is in there. That's great. It can only get better. You got Kieran Williams, Robinson with Mitchell and Gibbs. So you're still picking up all your pieces in the 2-game slate that we're calling it and your defense from the first one. And who cares? It's Pittsburgh D against Josh Allen, who could definitely make mistakes.
So we'll put Lamb in there, and then
I like that lineup. Yeah,
we'll put Demarcus Robinson in the flex for this. You know, in the off chance that it's very clear that the person in front of you, you know, when you're in second and there's a guy in first place and he has Demarcus Robinson in his flex as well, that now it's time to pivot onto someone else from that game, be it Jesus.
Besides the optimum,
Jameson Williams.
That's a good lineup. I do like that one.
Okay, so there's one. There's a Dak one. This can be changed too. Like if you don't play Kyron Williams, you can play Aaron Jones, and you don't necessarily need to play Reed, or you can stick with Reed. I want to play this lineup. I want to play with Jordan Love and see what that gives us. The issue right now is we don't know the Watson situation, and we don't know. Do you think? I feel like Watson's not playing.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell. This side, that's why it sucks. But if you go Reed and Melton, you could do that then if that's what you feel like.
Well, he practiced on a limited basis.
Yeah, that's why.
So maybe he ended up Okay, so let's take Dak out and put Love in. Do you think this will kill Love's ownership? Just the fact that he's so hard to pair with his receivers, and we're probably not going to know.
Well, that's why I had him down the board already at the start. I said 12 to 15. It might even be lower. And then also don't forget, if Dillon gets ruled out, that makes Jones more popular. Not a lot of people are going to play Jones with Love.
Yeah.
So it's like then it hurts him even more. So it is something to think about for sure.
Who's the Dallas player that we want to keep in here? I just say we just lock CD. And
Just keep Lamb.
Okay. So I'll take Cooks out. So we have Reed with Love. Who's the other Packer that we want to chuck in here?
Was it just me or did the Optimal have Melton?
The Optimal did have Melton, but I can go through this and let you know like the inputs that we have of why it's telling us that. Right now at Run the Sims, it's because Watson is as if he is out.
Yeah, like Melton, though, this is the thing, 12.6, 25.59. You go back to your Tolbert conversation.
Yeah, he's the better Tolbert.
Give us the option. And he was in the optimal, so how do we just make the... Again, we're not trying to find this crazy thing. I like sticking with that. Love, Melton, Reed, Lamb. And then you can still have your Kieran Williams and Gibbs and whatever else you want in here. You might even be able to get up at tight end or get
Well, we can
off
most
to Marcus.
definitely... Well, the problem is, do we need to get up at tight end because tight end sucks?
Probably not. Like, honestly, let's just stick with your James Mitchell for a minute and see what that does.
So let's take DeMarcus Robinson out. We have just with the same lineup that we just played. Love, Kyron, Gibbs, Lamb, Reed, Melton, James Mitchell, Steelers D. That gives us 6,500 for a flex.
There's not really anyone there. It's annoying. Man.
What we could do here, I suppose we could take Kyron down to... I was going to say Aaron Jones, but now we have way too many Packers.
Yeah, and you don't have any... Well, you got Lamb, I guess that's the main thing. So
Yeah.
Lamb is good enough there. But
I mean, you could say no Lamb, play Cooks. And then you could have like Puka or Cup or something like that.
the change here, it's ugly, but would probably have to be like Puka with Pollard. And somehow say... Because if you're going off Lamb, who gets the points?
Could we go Puka... I mean,
Try Puka Cooks and
I was
see.
gonna say that would be we take Kyron down to Cook to James
Cook, yeah.
and then and we have exactly enough for Puka at 7,200.
Okay,
So we swap Kyron for Puka for that amount of money and the Rams player that we want, and now we have James Cook at $6,600.
Okay, let me just
Who
see.
I would assume is going to be very low owned because no one wants to touch that game.
And no one, like most people aren't going to play him against the Steelers defense. If they put him in, they're going to play it the
I'm
other way.
not that scared of the Steelers D. Like the Steelers D is fine, it's good, but they're not the 85 Bears.
How much is Puka?
7,200.
Oh, yeah, 72. There we go. Yeah, that works. So that is 10 off the optimal, but that's because of Cook and some other stuff.
And
but
probably
still
Love,
makes sense.
too.
And Love, yeah, all that. So,
Yeah,
but
we're playing worse players, so I wouldn't expect it to be optimal.
But it's not the worst. Like you still have Lamb versus Puka. That's a nice little combination there. You've got a running back in a game who are currently 10-point favorites at home, whether it's in their actual home in Buffalo or Cleveland. Like we said, we'll assume it's in Buffalo. But you get your Gibbs, Mitchell, Puka, Mini from that with the Green Bay Dallas side, and then you get your Pittsburgh defense just to fill it out. So I don't hate it.
So we've been using Pittsburgh D as the go-to here. They're $2,600, the second cheapest D. It's just a way to save money.
They're going to be the most popular. Makes
Do
sense.
you have like a lean on who should like the optimal gave us the Bills D?
Yeah. I would prefer that side of it going the opposite way. Just take on Rudolph again.
So
It's fine.
is there a way that we can do this? I don't feel like there is with this lineup. It would be basically turning Reed into Wicks and then making Steelers D Buffalo D, I think. So let's see.
How much do we need? 600?
Yeah.
No, more than that. 900.
How much is Wicks?
Sorry, I was talking about from going from Pittsburgh to Buffalo. We need $900.
And that's exactly $900.
from
Reed to Wicks, Steelers to Bills.
which is going to be way more unique too. And then just
But I just worry. I mean, if Watson plays, this lineup is terrible.
yeah. Oh, it is for sure. But that's
I mean, it's
all
probably
we
terrible anyway.
can only work with what we can. I'm not against this type of lineup. Like this to me, perfect. Okay, Love, Melton, Wicks runs it back with Lamb, uses up all your wide receiver spots on that game. You get Gibbs, Mitchell, with probably no Laporta, just assuming that, with Nakua on the other side, and then you have Cook with his defense in a weather game, likely, or something that's really cold, or wherever it ends up. You know what I mean? It's just who cares?
Yeah,
that to me is fine. We're 8 to 10 points off the optimal that was built, knowing what we know now, the same information. That to me is more than fine, and this is way lower owned than anything we've looked at so far.
How do you feel about Watson if he is active?
Probably have to mix him in. Like the guy's incredible.
Yeah,
if he's active, you got to assume he's good to go. Like, do they really? I don't know. It's end of the year, playoffs, decoy it up, sure. But at the same time, I mean, I feel like they're still going to try tossing it to him. So you'd have to have some interest, and he's 4,500.
So let's build one without CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, the other thing too, Pat, is this is like, I guess because y'all already have Melton in there, it's still bad. But who's third? Oh, okay. Let's take out Melton and Wicks for a second.
Okay.
And you go DeMarcus Robinson, Watson, if you had to. Worst case scenario. I'm just saying, like, if people are like, oh, that lineup sucks, there's easy swaps within these lineups that you can make.
Does that actually work?
Yeah.
Chris Watson's only $4,500.
That's what I mean. So it's there, that's the issue. So any Wicks lineup that you have can turn to him. The problem is we've got a Wicks with Melton. That's where people are like, that's a little bit of a stretch. So it's like, that's kind of the setup, but you can definitely still get to it if you wanted to.
So here's what I want to do now. No Lamb in this lineup, but Cowboys D.
No Lamb.
If there's one thing I noticed about Jordan Love in that Bears game, and he played really well, but he threw 2 really horrible passes that did not cost him. And if there is a defense that is going to take advantage of a duck or two, it's this Dallas defense. Because all they're trying to do, their one stated goal is let's ball hawk and try to return this. Like, when was the last time you heard from that Bland guy? I've heard more about Dick Bland on the Live Tour than Bland on Dallas.
I think he actually got involved last week. I think he got a pick because they're like, oh, of course, look who it is. It wasn't a pick 6, though, and that's why. So, but yeah, I'm with you on that. This lineup gets pretty weird when you do that, but you can go to Kieran Williams and Amon-Ra for Lamb and Gibbs.
Well, let's say, because we're using Cowboys D, I'm essentially saying that I think Cowboys D is basically going to score in this game, and maybe the under ends up hitting. That's kind of like because I don't want to use CD, I don't want to use Dak. So we can use a one-off from the Cowboys if we have to. We don't need to. But this is going to be my Cowboys player as Cowboys D. And then that kind of, obviously, that you could play Jordan Love against it too. You could always try to that. But quarterback-wise, do you want to go Stafford? Like, is there a way that we can build out the Stafford onslaught? I
like the Stafford lineups a lot because Kieran Williams pretty much fit into everything. So
Stafford,
I want to just leverage that.
And who?
Stafford, DeMarcus Robinson.
So no Cup, no Puka?
Oh, no, sorry. I want Stafford, Puka, and DeMarcus Robinson. I want to leverage Kieran Williams' ownership because even if A.J. Dillon is out and Aaron Jones gets boosted up, I still think like Pollard and Kieran are up there big time too. So like that's a way to get different with it. And you still have a bunch of money, but like this is a setup where you could go we could go to our James Mitchell play and then fill it with Green Bay Dallas guys. We could go to try it with Amon-Ra and then see where that puts.
Amon-Ra and Gibbs?
I think it's going to be crazy, but we'll see. Let me ask you this, all seriousness right now.
So we still have $4,800 left.
Between these two games, these that we keep flipping it to here, which I don't mind saying it, is these two games, which one do you actually think goes way over and goes nuts?
Rams, Lions.
See, I think it's the second one. I think that Love does keep up. Sorry, I mean, I'm the middle game of the day. I think Green Bay and Dallas just wants to throw it no matter what. And we'll see how it goes. But I think that if Love can keep up, and so far he's proven it, even though people won't give him the credit for it, he's proven it week after week after week, you could end up seeing like a 37-24 game, and they still get beat bad. 13 points, almost 2 touchdown loss, but they put up the 24 points, and you get that back and forth.
Absolutely. The thing that I like when trying to project this out, so the totals are pretty similar, aren't they?
Yeah, I think it's 50.5 or 51 or something for each.
So it's a point off, so it's negligible in terms of what we're trying to mine here from a scoring environment. But those are the optimal condition games. The one thing that I would say is that you have a game with the Rams in Detroit with 2 bad defenses. At least in the Dallas game, Dallas has a good defense, and that could show up. They could get lit, too. Like, I'm not saying they can't, especially with Love and the way that he's been playing and pushing the ball down the field. But I know in the other game, like, if that turns into a defensive battle somehow, I'd be stunned.
Yeah. It's just tough. Like, that's the thing. You definitely see other teams that Love's gone up against, and it's hard to say. I do think that's part of my thought process. And the other thing is if you go, like, Stafford, DeMarcus Robinson, and Puka, once you put Amon-Ra, you don't have much money left over, and there is good running backs.
I disagree. I've just built this out with Stafford, Gibbs, DeMarcus, Puka, and Amon-Ra, and I have $4,800 left with Cowboys D in. So now we use like Bo Melton, and all of a sudden we can afford whoever.
Right, and it's going to go downhill is what I'm saying. Like, so you still have a running back spot you need to fill out.
Okay, well let's put in a tight end.
If it's Aaron Jones.
Okay, let's put in Aaron Jones.
Well, it's Aaron Jones or Pollard, I guess, and you put in.
Oh, it doesn't need to be them. It could be James Cook. It could be Warren.
Yeah, you can use those guys. I just think I'm focused on those other two games, so I'm trying to think about it from that perspective. But yeah,
Okay, so
fill it out.
Let's do it this week. Let's put in Aaron Jones. We'll put him at $6,300. Like if we're just going to be punting it off anyway, like what's it? We could just put in James Mitchell and just continue. If this is the game that we're doubling down on, might as well just have 3 Lions, have a running back, St. Brown, have the PPR guy, have the running back who might score, and then have the cheapest tight end who might catch a touchdown.
So then it's like Najee is where you land, or Pickens or something.
Yeah. You would have Najee, Romeo Doubs, Gabe Davis, like that range of guys.
Or you could just do what we were before and just take your defense down and see what it gives you. 60.
Yeah, but the whole point of this is I want to play Cowboys D. Because I like, in this lineup, I'm saying that Cowboys D takes out the Dallas skill guys. That's the story that I want to tell with this lineup.
So what if, what's that guy? Okay, I would probably do this then myself because it still gets all the pieces you wanted, but I would then take Aaron Jones not against the D. I would go with Tony Pollard, and it gets me Jaden Reed. And I'm fine with Jaden Reed against, you're always fine with players against the D anyway on short slates. I'm just saying I don't like a game as much where if it's Jones on the ground and Jones actually getting there for you and all that, this gets away from that. We get Pollard, the Dallas D, Reed. I feel like the only punt in this lineup is James Mitchell if we feel comfortable with DeMarcus Robinson. And this is 3
I do feel comfortable with DeMarcus Robinson, by the way.
Yeah, so do I. And this is, I'm going to mark this one down too, because this is really strong against the optimal, only 3 points off. No Kieran Williams, no Lamb.
And Dallas D.
And with a solid D and only 3 points off the original optimal. That tells you all you need to know. And Reed's position could improve based on other stuff. I should say this. Reed's position could improve twofold. If Watson, Wicks, something's out there, but also if Dillon's out and ownership gets pumped to Aaron Jones, we also have the flip of that where it's the defense against Aaron Jones. Not many people put them together. They could, but we also have Reed where it has to come down probably a little bit if people are moving to the running back situation instead. So Stafford, Robinson, Puka, run it back with Gibbs, Mitchell, and Amon-Ra. I'll just overload that game. Then you've got Pollard with his defense and Reed, and don't even touch the first game. Turn it into a 2-game slate. I like that.
So let's reload it again and take Amon-Ra out.
Okay.
And I've moved Puka up to Cup.
Okay.
And I've moved whoever it is we had at running back to Pollard. Put Pollard in at $6,100, which I do not want to do. But
I already had him in there. So Pollard, Gibbs, you got?
Yeah, Pollard Gibbs.
With Stafford, Cup, Robinson. Do you want me to take out Jaden Reed for now? Or leave him?
We can just move Jaden Reed to receiver if we want.
That's what I did, yeah. And then we have 70. I see 7,700 in the flex myself.
So now what does that give us as something to play around with? Diggs, Kyron Williams.
Is there a $2,500 tight end, though?
A $2,500 tight end?
Yeah.
Let me run the numbers on that.
I don't see much here.
Let's see here. Tight ends, ones that actually project. Connor Hayward is really the only one, and you don't want to play him.
Yeah, it's not going to rack up enough, or it hasn't. You've seen him get some catches and stuff like that, but it's not going to be.
Like James Mitchell's the cheapest that we can go to.
Stupid. Dobbs has just been whatever, but you could, again, you could use Dobbs over Reed to get back to Amon-Ra, but if you want to be off Amon-Ra.
It's not that I want to be off on Amon-Ra. I just want to see what this would give us. Like we could actually get Kyron Williams back in and just go full onslaught of the Rams.
I don't mind that either, because that's where we leveraged him in the last one. It's like a different way to use him here.
So now we would have Stafford, Cup, Robinson, and Kyron. The problem is we only have Gibbs and Mitchell. I guess that's 2 Lions coming back. It'd be nice to have another one.
Well, it's 2 Lions, plus you've got the other side of you still have the other game where you've got the Dallas pieces in here, right? Like you've got Pollard with
Is this
Jaden Reed and the D.
You know who we can use here? Is Josh Reynolds.
Okay.
I feel like he makes a lot of sense here.
Over Robinson or over Reed?
Robinson. Take Robinson out, play Josh Reynolds. Khalif Raymond's probably not going to play. Laporta's not going to play. We've seen before the emergence of Laporta the past few years with Ben Johnson and with Jared Goff, Josh Reynolds was kind of the red zone guy. He would just be like, it's the Thanksgiving slate. Just fire up some Josh Reynolds. He's going to have like 3 end zone targets when they get inside the 10.
I actually liked him last week, so now you pull Laporta out too. It kind of makes perfect sense, and then you can actually use James Mitchell or Brock Wright in your lineup that you've got there.
If you wanted to, yeah.
So yeah, you got
to stick with James Mitchell just because that's
what we've been using.
Might as well triple down. The other thing that you can do in this lineup very sneakily, if you wanted to, you can get to Aaron Jones instead of Pollard.
Oh, you got the money for that now,
Yeah.
right? So let's see what that looks like. If you go to
Take Pollard out and play Jones against your defense. But
Yeah.
now we have 2 Packers and no skill Cowboys.
yeah,
That it logically makes more sense with Tony Pollard. Unless you can find another receiver at 57 who you like, and there's really no one.
I would honestly at this point probably just swap the D to Buffalo and just say I'm off the Dallas guys and just hope that they spread it out, because that's one thing we talked about that can happen with Dallas. I know last week they kind of did actually. If we mentioned it, like Tolbert got it.
Yeah,
Cook's got
all
it.
you need is all you need then is like a Rico Dwaddle touchdown and
Something
and
like that.
Hendershot scores instead of Ferguson. You're off to the races.
It happens, right? It can. And then, so if that's the case, you still have all the main pieces you wanted from this Rams-Detroit game, but then you have Green Bay guys doing their thing as the actual skill players that should. With, again, this lineup, Pat, if the injury news breaks the right way, could be popular plays for Green Bay. Like if Watson and A.J. Dillon are out, then Reed and Jones would pick up steam. But guess what? How many people are playing them with no Dallas guys at all? That's how this lineup would work.
That's us losing our money.
It's possible. This actually only projects 8.5 off the optimal.
This is the one that I feel the most confident will score the most points.
Which is interesting because we have no Lamb, no Amon-Ra. Like we're missing some big pieces, but it's because you still have Kieran, Kupp, Reed, Jones. You still got guys in there. It's more like a balanced build. While you're using the cheap tight end that everybody is, because who cares?
Just like that lineup that I used against you in golf.
Yeah, that's a rigged thing. We'll talk about that
But
this
by
week.
the
coming
way,
up.
that lineup is winning the 150 right now as we speak.
Oh, I believe it. But the key about that lineup side topic is we built it together. I helped you close it out with Coles, and then you're like, all right, now you build one, man. Like that. I was like, okay, so we'll see. Obviously, I got Willie Z, can't make a putt, and just looks horrible. But did have an eagle on the day, so we'll see. It's probably not going to make the cut, though.
I'm really begging. Nick Taylor did not play well on Thursday, and he salvaged his round. They made an eagle to end his round. So good Mo. I always like that, guys. Having an eagle on the final hole, maybe they can carry that forward to the next day.
That's what you're hoping for.
But I need him to make the cut. I need the guys that are I have 4 guys inside the top 10, and then Henley and Nick Taylor are -1, so they're right on the cut line. So I need those guys to make.
I think everyone's going to just go low today. It's going to be a chalk week.
That'd be good for me then.
Yes.
As long as Cam Davis can win.
Davis had a really good day.
Yeah, well, he gained 6 strokes putting. That would be why.
That'll do it. When he does that, it works out. Lucas Glover missed the gimme.
Yeah, he missed the 18-inch putt.
Yeah.
We call that the Pat Mayo.
Yeah,
Not
everyone
because
said
I missed it.
That's
That's the 18 inches.
Oh, yeah. Come on now.
That's not true.
I
That is a lie.
I didn't want to say it, Pat, but I didn't believe you.
I mean, there's a reason you never see me in shorts. That's not the reason. And I wear shorts all the time. Okay, so let's move to the other slate.
All right, let's do 2-gamer. The actual 2-gamer.
Yeah, the actual 2-game slate.
But guess what? It's actually a 1-game.
It's actually a showdown.
It's actually
contest.
a showdown slate. No, I'm just kidding. It could be, but we'll see. The talk is obviously going into this one. We're talking about Cleveland, Houston, Miami at KC. Split up slate. You're playing one game and the one after, same thing. So, but the idea here is that it's going to be freezing cold in Kansas City. No way these guys can do anything.
Well, so let's try to figure out who we can use from that game. It is historically when you're in negative Fahrenheit, I don't still quite know, even after living in America, how Fahrenheit works. But I know that if it's below 0 Fahrenheit, it's fucking cold.
Oh, it's very cold.
But I think Achane is the play. I want one of the Miami running backs has to be the play because one guy falls down and they're fucking to the house.
Yeah, it's the guy with the Q tag. That's why. It's the opposite.
So it's Mostert.
Yeah, when he plays, which he's going to, and then it's going to be him.
Could you play them both? Because I think they might run the ball 40 times.
Yeah,
or they should.
Yeah, you definitely could, and we've seen this again. It's not like some new thing, but just for some reason it's not fully adapted to lately. Is where it's obvious that what their goal and plan here is to do is to just keep Mahomes off the field.
Okay, so let's try this. They're the 3 highest on the slate. Or not Hill, sorry. Achane, Mostert, Pacheco.
Okay, we're getting right into it. Here we go. That's all we need from that game.
Those are the only 3 guys, and they're the 3 most expensive running backs. I don't want to play any running backs in the other stupid game. Like maybe Jerome Ford catches a blood dump and takes it 50 yards like he did last time against Houston. But on paper, Houston has an excellent run defense. Cleveland has an excellent run defense. If these teams were smart, they would just pass the entire game.
Also, it's the anniversary, which is not really an anniversary because it was like a few weeks ago, of your Joe Flacco call. Going into
in
Houston
this game.
in this same game and just absolutely dominating with Amari Cooper and Njoku. So sure, it'll happen again, but it probably won't. So we got to think about that too. But I think the Houston side is actually pretty interesting in this one, and we may get some injury stuff breaking in our favor too. Like you just never know how it's going to shake out.
Noah Brown hasn't practiced all week. I'm getting the sense that he's not playing.
Ex Hutch, your boy.
My guy, let's get him in there.
You want to get him in there? Okay.
Can they make him lower than $3,000? Because that would be nice.
I think they want to, but he got his most targets yet last week. 4 targets.
And to watch the games, he feels like he's involved, but he's not. He doesn't do anything.
They just needed a little bit of time. Was that his first game or second game with Stroud? That was last week Stroud's first game back? Or was the week before?
Yes, because he didn't play against Cleveland. And then the other one,
I have the worst memory for that stuff, but I was almost positive.
Yeah, well, they played in week 16. And
he did play against Tennessee, though. So, yeah, he did play both those games with them. So they're still warming up. Third time's the charm for that combo pack.
And he's getting these end zone looks, which I like. So it's him or Omichi Premier.
No.
It's one of those two guys, I think, if we're going to build this lineup.
X Hutch.
I'm in a, his name starts with an X. How could you not play this guy?
They're going to say the opposite. You should X him out.
No. Wrong.
X Hutch
Wrong.
out.
Wrong.
So, there you go. X going to give it to you. I like that one. Let's do it with Stroud, though, because I think everybody wants to play Flacco here.
I mean, I want to play Stroud. Why wouldn't you play Stroud?
I don't know. What do you actually think? Do you think Flacco gets more ownership than Stroud?
I honestly, I have no idea. I defer to you.
I think it's going to be pretty similar. That's why I was asking. I actually think Mahomes might come in higher. It's not never Mahomes slate. Well, people are still going to play him. Like
Why?
We'll see what happens. Maybe I guess by the time we get there, it's those two. But right now, I see Flacco getting a little bit more. Mahomes getting a little bit more because it's a 2-game slate. He's just going to be the guy that pops on paper, and he's only $7,100.
Can we find a loser tight end to play?
Harrison Bryant instead of Njoku. Brevin Jordan.
Brevin Jordan was the one I was thinking about because we're playing Stroud.
Okay.
So now we have money again. Who's the defense we want to play? Chiefs D?
Yeah, I prefer
We'll
that.
play Chiefs D.
Against those two running backs will be
So
less
now
popular.
we have enough for Collins and Cooper if we wanted to. And we still have $1,100 left over. So we might not have to play Brevin Jordan and Hutchinson if we don't want to.
Yeah, that's probably the case here.
With $1,100, that can get us up to...
Take a Brev Jord and get somebody else in here.
The thing is, there is no one else for 36. It's either Kelsey and Njoku or Schultz. Like all the good tight ends are on this slate versus the Sunday slate. So that leaves us to pick between Durham Smythe, Noah Gray, Harrison Bryant, someone named Z. Mitchell Padden on Cleveland. That sounds like fun. Here's the play. We play Jordan Atkins in a revenge game against Houston.
That is true. All right, let's do that.
We don't actually need to do that. I don't think he does. Does he have a catch? We had 3 catches.
Man, we don't. That
was in week 18 though, when no one played.
You just have to leave the money on the table, though.
Yeah.
Think about what's a good lineup here. Like it's obviously Stroud, X Hutch, and Nico Collins. That looks pretty good. You get Amari Cooper in there. That looks pretty good. Pacheco, Achane, Mostert, and whatever D you want leaves you $3,600. Just pick your guy at tight end and leave the money on the table. So we said who? Jordan. We said Brevin Jordan. Yeah, that's solid projection. It leaves $1,100. Good idea on a 2-game slate to leave money on the table. That's
How about Andrew Beck?
Oh God, that was brutal. Showdown that slate. I came
I'm betting
or something. It was a
By the way, I'm writing this down right now. Beck first touchdown.
good luck.
He scored. I think. What does he have? 3 touchdowns this year? It's something outrageous for a guy that never touches the ball,
Except when it's in the end zone.
except for when they're on the 2-yard line, which is realistically, if you're going to bet first touchdown or any his touchdowns week 18, apparently didn't even play in week 17. His touchdowns his last 2 games. Yeah. So by that trend, he will score this week.
He's
good trend.
Yeah. I'm just saying when we were building this out, I like this, even though people, X Hutchinson and Brevin Jordan, I get it, but the rest of the lineup makes a ton of sense. And if you don't like the running backs in that game at all, then that would be a way to set it up, and you just don't have to look where you can spend the money. You can just leave the money.
So Woods might play, and we could change it to Woods, no problem. Woods, Hutchinson up to Woods, if that's the way that we wanted to go.
How much is Woods? 36?
$3,600. Just trying to see. Noah Brown's 51, so we really can't get to him if he does play. But I think that he would be an awesome play if he does play.
Yeah, I also think we have nothing really. Yeah, I'd be fine with this.
We can't go. The only thing that we could really do with this lineup, if we wanted to, because if we wanted to get rid of money here and we wanted to shore everything up, I say we get rid of Pacheco. He's 64, and then you could drop him down to anyone you really wanted to at that point. You could drop him down to Njoku.
So we still got the two Miami up top.
if it comes to fruition that Noah Brown is playing, I think what you could do is get rid of Pacheco, turn him into Noah Brown, and then take Xavier Hutchinson out, and then turn Brown as a receiver, and then put Njoku in the flex. And we still don't have enough money. Then you have to play Dolphins D. That still doesn't work. Fuck.
It still doesn't work.
We're $200 short.
I was trying to figure it out. Okay.
Damn it.
How much is Pacheco? 64?
Yeah.
You probably have to take
You'd have to lose one of the Dolphins guys.
Mostert down to Pacheco because you like Achane. You can then play something like Brevin Jordan in Njoku.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the change. If Noah Brown plays, and I don't think that Noah Brown is going to play, so
Yeah, that'd be fine.
I just wanted to give it a quick shout in that regard.
Let me ask you this: which game does Flacco falter in this game, or does he make it through one more? What do you think actually happens?
Well, you're a Ravens fan.
Yeah, that's the narrative. If you put the tinfoil hat on,
Well, I don't think if I was a Ravens fan, I wouldn't want to see the Browns. I think the Browns have the best chance of beating the Ravens.
yeah, I want to play. I'd rather play against Houston.
Yeah, and I think Houston could give them a game just because they'll chuck.
I think they'll chuck into a bunch of mistakes.
They might, but
I'm cheering for that, but that's why I think Cleveland wins this game.
see, I think Houston wins this game.
Yeah.
Because the Flacco, because when we talked about it last time, and all Flacco does is chuck, right? So taking a look at it, last time he threw those 2 picks. Case Keenum couldn't do anything with it. Davis Mills couldn't do anything with it. Stroud can. So Stroud can make this a game based off the Flacco turnovers, and Stroud has been very good with the ball. I think you're going to see Stroud run more in this game. Pizzola, Cam, and I talked about it, and I actually played the parlay. It was by the numbers, quarterbacks run way more in the playoffs than they do in the regular season. So anyone who has like any sliver of mobility whatsoever, I just put them all on a parlay together. I have like Stroud over rushing yards, Allen over, Mahomes over, Love over, Dak over. Parlayed those 5 together, and I think it's like 33-1 or something.
Yeah, that's another angle for Mahomes on this slate. The stat is out there. I saw at least a couple people post it. It's something like 30% more rushing yards in the playoffs for Mahomes than the regular season. So he really likes to scramble in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
this is the worst year he's had for receivers. So
yeah, that too. So it makes perfect sense there. But that's where I think that leads to. But this lineup's pretty nice and it projects well.
Which one?
We have to wait and see on Noah Brown. The
Oh
one we
yeah,
just did.
oh yeah, the Noah Brown one.
Yeah.
I'm going to change it back because I'm going to forget to like go in and adjust it.
So we'll go back to Hutchinson.
Go back to Hutchinson and Brevin Jordan at tight end. Would you prefer? Like, do you prefer Mostert and not Achane, right?
I'm going to be playing both, but I prefer, especially if the Q tag holds up for a little while longer.
Do you prefer Mostert or Njoku?
Mostert.
Okay, so let's just do that. Let's go Achane, Pacheco, Mostert, and just have the lineup that we had before. And we leave $1,100.
Yeah, that was fine. That's and actually only from what I was looking at. I don't know if you have do you have the optimal for this one?
I can run it right now. If
Yeah,
you
run it. Let's do that because I was gonna say for what I could find, it was only like 3 or 4 points off. That's why I said for $1,100, that's actually better for you. Less likely to be duped, other situational stuff, and it's not like we were, following what everybody else is doing. Let's see what the actual optimal looks like, and I'll get you a number.
Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback.
There you go.
Pacheco, Kareem Hunt. So this is way different.
Yeah.
Pacheco, Kareem Hunt at 47. Elijah Moore and Amari Cooper.
With
Elijah Moore, Amari Cooper. Nico and Schultz. Sergeant Schultz. Rashee Rice and Texans D. See, I like our lineup way more than this lineup.
Yeah, this does project way better.
I'm sure it does, but I don't think Mahomes is going to do much. So,
Do you think Tua's going to do anything?
no.
Right. So that's why I said it feels cut and dry on this one.
When we spoke about this, like I said, I want to play this like a showdown slate. There are like 3 guys. If you had to save money and you didn't want to use Brevin Jordan, maybe you can use Noah Gray at tight end and just have that be a way to get some Kansas City exposure. But other than that, I'm just loading up on the other. Let's just look at the totals. Like, I know that's not the end all be all.
They're both the same.
Oh my God, you're right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just make money by betting over on one and under on the other.
You could do that for
Boom.
sure. Yeah,
Easy
that's
game.
the difference. The other thing I was saying earlier, though, I do think one of the other conversation pieces I've seen out there plenty already is about Pacheco. Oh, look how he stomps and runs, and we get all that. We know it. And he's electric when he's out there. It's fine. It's cold. Makes perfect sense. This could be the Kelsey game. And it's not like he's going to get low ownership because it's a 2-game slate and it's Kelsey. But, man, they could just be chopping it up over the middle. Like he could have 9 catches by the half. It's possible.
Okay, so there's the other way to spin this as well, because I mentioned one guy falls down, Mostert and Achane are just gone, right? The same could be said about Waddle and Hill. That they throw them one of these bubble screens, someone falls down, they make one guy miss, and their speed alone is now more of an advantage this week than it is in any other week, because the footing might not be there for a lot of guys.
Yeah, I don't think Tyreek needs anyone to fall down.
No, he does. But
Either way, no, you're right. I'm saying, but
he
like,
does.
yeah, no, it's even better. I'm just saying he's given peace. I remember the start of the season, people were like, oh, Surtain is going to hold him down. First play of the game, it was like, see you later, Surtain, I'm gone for 41-yard touchdown or something. It's like, that's what he does. So you're right. And that's where it comes into play. But it looks to me, I know he didn't make the optimal, but I still have Tyreek far and away the highest owned guy on this entire slate.
So let's try this. Tua, Mostert, Hill, and Waddle.
Tua, Mostert, Hill. I thought you said two of. Tua, Mostert, Hill, Waddle.
And Waddle's playing, right?
He's still Q-tag, but I would expect.
I mean, we don't have to. Let's not use Waddle then.
Okay.
Just use those. And it's not like Mostert catches a ton of passes. Like you don't. Not everything I think needs to correlate on a 2-game slate. Just Hill can break a big one for you. He can get Tua there with him. And then Mostert might score 3 touchdowns from the 1-yard line.
And Tua can throw them to him when they get up there. You've seen it.
Yep.
Like, that's the thing. So you could put Pacheco and then go to your Cleveland Houston guys you like Cooper and Njoku and Brevet, whatever you choose.
So
or
let's try this.
You could do it differently.
Let's try Pacheco with Noah Gray.
Which I do like Noah Gray a little bit here at 2,600.
He gets involved enough. You just have to hope he catches a touchdown.
Yeah, and
he's
honestly,
2,600.
Yeah, you are fighting against a better tight end pool in this slate versus the previous slate we were on, because Kelsey and Njoku, Schultz, one of the Houston backups, like there is stuff there, but Gray would be the guy that falls in for the lower end that I don't mind.
So as a part of this, let's use Texans D against Flacco. Flacco's going to try to throw it to them. All they need to do is return one of them.
Yep.
So let's use Texans D. So now we have $5,200 per player. So we can go Cooper, Collins. No, there's no $1,800 player, so we can't do that. Let's go Njoku as the flex.
Okay.
Then I think we can go Collins, Hutchinson. We can, exactly.
Perfect. There you go. We like that.
I mean, this lineup sucks, but
It's what you want to play, though.
on a 4-game slate with a guy who throws to Tyreek Hill, there's a chance that Tua comes like 10% owned, 8% owned.
Yeah, he's going to be low owned here for sure.
And yeah.
The setup I have right now is like 15-ish is what it looks like, so we'll see. Again, that both those guys could get Mahomes should come down a lot if people just decide to get on and say it's just Pacheco and that's good and I'm good going there, and Pacheco and Kansas City D and stuff like that sets up. I think that could be a thing. But if you just overstack, let's just leave the quarterback out for a second on the Cleveland-Houston game and go with the 3 running backs, like you said. Or let's just go 2. Let's go with your Achane, Pacheco. And then you go Nico Collins, Amari Cooper. Let's go Hutchinson, Njoku. And then what does that leave us?
Sorry, hit me with it again. So it's Achane and
Pacheco. So just the 2 running backs only from that game. Now we're going to overstack the shit out of the first game. So let's go Collins, Cooper, Hutchinson, Njoku. And then let's try Elijah Moore and Flacco.
More
4,300. Stroud leaves 36.
which is Robert Woods, I think.
No, that's just for the D. I
we
didn't put a
need a
D
D.
in yet, so I was trying to see. So
We can have any D that we want.
if we go Stroud here and just go with the Kansas City D, it leaves us 4,700.
Oh, I have 700 left.
Kareem.
What did I do wrong? I have Hutchinson in.
That's who I have.
Oh, I had Elijah Moore in.
Yeah, so I just swapped him. He can be him or Kareem Hunt. Doesn't matter. But
Damian Pierce, comeback.
there's no one that really falls in that range, I guess.
Schultz, double tight end.
Yeah, where's he at?
He's at 44.
Yeah.
So you play Njoku and Schultz with Stroud as your quarterback. I like that more.
And this D is fine as is. So you got $300 off on the table?
Yeah.
I like this lineup. That's what I was trying to say. I think this is the other thing where if you just go with pick your poison in that first in that second game, which is the running backs, which we've called, and then you just go with the overstack of the other game and just doesn't matter. Leave money, change your guys. If you want to plug in Elijah Moore instead of Amari Cooper and hope he catches a bomb and Amari just gets left out, it projects less. But again, you're leaving money on the table. It makes sense. I think that's how you can attack this slate and get different. A showdown slate with pinpointed pick 2 plays from that game or 1 or 2 plays and roll it that way. I think
and if you did want to get every expensive option from this game, you could use, like I said, Noah Gray or one of the Chiefs' cheap receivers and just hope that hits.
Yeah.
But I think that filling out, even on a heavy tight end slate, just you can play like double tight end if you really wanted to with Noah Gray at 2,600 to save all that money, or flip it and go with like Cedric Wilson.
That too. Yeah, and then we'll wait. Again, Waddle
or Durham Smythe or whoever it is.
I like the Wilson call if
Waddle doesn't go.
Doesn't go.
But even if Waddle goes, it might make Wilson a better play.
That he'll be lower, even lower owned. Yeah, sure.
All right. Anything on Monday? Because I got nothing.
Who do you think wins that one? Does Philly finally show up, or are they done?
I mean, I'm not betting it, but I picked Tampa +3. Like, who knows? Yeah. I don't even know who's playing in that game. Like,
we don't know. AJ Brown
might
Smith
be out.
Yeah, they're in trouble if that's the case.
So then your showdown lineups will be like Hurts, Zacchaeus, and Julio Jones and Goddard.
Fun showdown slate.
Yeah, tune into Ship It Nation.
Yeah, we are.
Are you guys doing a show on Mayo Media Network?
Yeah, last one of the season. Last showdown show of the season on Mayo Media Network is that show. We're going to have golf shows. We're going to have other stuff instead, but for that one, for the NFL season where we did Monday and Thursdays, that's the last one because it's the last game, January 15th.
Yeah, and we'll see how this show does. I know you're out next Friday, so I might have like Ben on to build lineups with you. Not Ben
Benny on. Wow.
Not Ben on, Ben Raza on.
Okay.
To talk, or whoever it is that I could grab to talk about this. Or if this show doesn't do well, then fuck it. We're out on DraftKings for this.
I think people still want to play these slates.
I want to play these slates. I'm having fun on these slates. And
Yeah.
we just spent an hour talking through like 2 weird slates. But I think we got there with it. RunTheSims.com. Code Mayo will get you 10% off. I mean, I'll be betting more props than anything this weekend than playing DraftKings lineups.
I like betting a lot during the playoffs and the props. I don't, like I said, I tease this. I don't put on the tinfoil hat, but it always feels like everything that you think is going to happen happens.
I like that strategy because you did what? Kansas City, Buffalo, money line, even money?
Yeah. It's like that. They're both going to win. It's just how it's going to go.
I think the Dolphins might win. There's literally 0 people picking the Dolphins. 0 people.
They'll bust up a lot of stuff, that's for sure. But the 4.5 line makes me think that it's just going to be the Chiefs.
Yeah, I can see that as well.
Like if it was 6.5, I know again another thing where I'm like, but if it was that, I'd be like, oh, I could see this because everyone's going to tease it down and all this stuff that's going to happen, and you just know that goes against you. Sometimes this one just feels like the Chiefs get the job done.
The Sim Runner had Donovan Peoples-Jones as the best prop yesterday when I looked
For
under 7.5
Yeah.
yards. It still is. Jerome Ford under 2.5 receptions rates out really well too. I don't like that one. See, that's the thing. Like that, this is if I had just played because it says it's 71% winner on under 2.5, and you can play that at DraftKings Sportsbook right now at +1. Oh, it's rated really well because it's +120. Mm-hmm. So I guess that makes more sense because that feels like a coin flip that you're getting +120 on. But I should listen to the simulator more instead of pretending like I know anything about football, and that's what really gets me in trouble in a lot of these things.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like I try to think about it logically. Well, if the Browns are smart, they're just not going to run because it's hard to run on Houston. If they want to get Ford involved, they have to pass it to him. And the last time they played them, that's what they did.
Yeah, I remember too. Like some of your parlays, really good until the one piece you added out of your brain up here, and then you're like, damn, I just shouldn't have done that. I got too greedy.
Greedy.
Stick to the Sims. You'll get there.
Yeah, so Run the Sims prop, sniper code Mayo makes it, I think it's like $10 a week. If you want the full package, you just get the weekly at this point if you really want to roll through it. I think we might make Super Bowl free. I don't know. We did last year. We should. It's not like people are signing up on Super Bowl day to run showdown contests.
Get everyone to look at it. Let them all see it. Post it out.
It'd be great if the sim runner can just like nail the top 5 props at the Super Bowl, and everyone comes back for next year. Because everyone who played with the prop sniper this year, I mean, I did. I won a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And if people like Prize Picks or Underdog, like because they don't have sports books in their states, like we have those simulators as well to go through it. But I don't like when people are like, "Oh, here are my bets," but it's actually a Prize Pick slip. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, it's great that you hit 4 of 5 and went 4 and 1. You didn't win anything.
Yeah, it's useless at that point. Exactly. But what people should do is when they win big, just sign up for an annual or something like that.
Yeah.
Like then you're locked in. You're
then
good.
you don't think about it.
Talk about it all the time at Ship It Nation. Same thing. If you win big, use it. It's, if this helped you, or these tools or data or projections or content, whatever it might be, use it and just sign up for the annual and you're good to go. And you don't have to think about it. And you can just get rid of all the other stuff you don't need. Use the other complementary sites to get on with them and you're good to go.
Yeah. So the data site, the simulation site, the lineup generating site, runthesims.com, fantasynational.com/Mayo for golf, and then Ship It Nation for the golf package, code Mayo. We're doing the draw on Tuesday this week for the golf DraftKings show, and you'll be giving away a winner. So
10% off the introductory prices too. Those prices will go up. So 10% will carry over, but you'll miss out on the best prices possible. So now's the time to sign up. Monthly or season long gets you in the draw, and you can get upgraded from monthly to a season pass if you use code Mayo. If you buy the season pass, you can get your money back using code Mayo. So that someone's going to win each of those, two winners.
have you played Pick 6 yet?
No.
Neither have
I also don't get into like niche games. People are like, oh, it's such an edge in certain things.
Yeah.
I've
You stick with what
done
you
with
know?
what's working, and it's also part of like a work-life balance, family, things like that too, things I care about, where it's like if you try and do too much, sometimes it rocks the boat and then everything falls apart. If you got everything going good already, just stick to that.
I like it. At Toe Tag and Tambo on Twitter, shipitnation.com. Once again, code Mayo will work over there. You can check out their YouTube channel as well if you want even more content. You guys are doing the Showdown show Monday for Monday Night Football. Are you doing like a Sunday?
Yeah, we'll be there on Sunday too.
Oh,
Mayo Media Network on Sunday.
Live on Sunday. So you got more questions about the Sunday slate?
Yep.
When you should play in the DraftKings Listeners League, by the way. So you might have
We're
to,
doing a Saturday show too.
on Mayo Media Network?
That one's on ours. We're sticking to the Sunday on yours.
So
yeah.
Ship It Nation live YouTube channel for the Saturday slate, Mayo Media Network, right here. So sub to the channel. Ship It Nation will be there in the morning answering your questions. Then they'll be back on Monday for the Showdown slate. So we got you covered at Mayo Media Network. All right, playing the Listeners League, smash the like, sub to the podcast. That will do it. I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!